In today's video, I'm going to be starting another new series on the channel. This is another one where you guys have the chance to get your comment featured in the video. These are always super fun to make, and this one is called NHL Over or Under. I posted yesterday on the community tab asking you guys to comment a player's name and then also comment a point total, and I'm going to go through and pick some of the ones out that I like and then say if I think that player will score over that point total or under that point total. And there was 302 comments on this post, so thank you guys so much for the support. And obviously I can't answer all 302, but what I did is I brought Andrew Pillock on, a buddy of mine. He also has a YouTube channel. Make sure you go subscribe to it. Let's try to get him up there around 6,500 or 7,000 subscribers. I know you guys can do it, but I picked 10 for myself to answer, and then at the end of the video he is also going to answer 10 as well. So now, without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video with the first comment. This first comment comes from Hyper Ace, and they say Panarin 95 points. I'm going to go ahead and say under. It was a career year for Panarin this past season, 87 points for him, and I think he could be up there around the same or maybe even crack 90 points for the first time in his career, but in my opinion 95 points is pushing it. I know Panarin is a very good offensive player and he's going to be playing with some pretty talented line mates as well, but I think that is just a point total he's not going to be able to reach. I hope he proves me wrong and really does live up to that contract, but for this first comment I'm definitely going to say under. Next up we have a comment from Overstorm97 who says Jake Virtanen 30 points over or under. I'm going to go ahead and say over. I think Jake Virtanen next season is finally going to have that breakout year in some aspects. I think he can be a 20 goal scorer. He has all the skills. He's fast, he's physical, he has a good body to be a solid goal scorer. I think it's just a matter of putting all those things together, and he is coming off the best season of his career so far. I could see Jake Virtanen maybe being like a 45 to 50 point scorer next year for the Canucks, so I'm going to say over on this one. This next comment comes from Maximilian Polite, I think I'm saying that correctly, and they say James Neal 50 points. I'm going to say under. I know James Neal can still be a 20 goal scorer, but he doesn't usually put up the biggest numbers in terms of assists and stuff like that, especially over the past 2 seasons. I could see him being like a 20-20 guy for like 40 points, or maybe even like 15 goals or something like that, so I don't really see him cracking the 50 point mark. It would be huge for Edmonton if he could do that because they need all the help on the wing that they can get, but for this one I think I'm going to say under, but I still think he can have a pretty solid season. This next comment comes from Frankie McDonald who says Galchenyuk 60 points. Now this is interesting because I feel like Galchenyuk obviously can crack this mark now playing with Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin. He's most likely going to be centered by one of the two, and he's going to get some power play time with them as well, and I think he just is in a perfect position to finally have a breakout season and be the scorer that everyone knew he could be once he was drafted at one point by the Montreal Canadiens, but now he's a member of the Penguins. I think 60 points is a little bit steep, but honestly on this one I am going to say over. I think he can be like a 65 to 70 point guy if he does play with a healthy Crosby or Malkin. Next up we have a comment from Tyler O'Leary who says Kevin Labanc 75 points. Now I kind of went back and forth on this one. In the end I am going to say under, but I will not be surprised whatsoever if he does surpass 75 points. He just had a breakout season with 50 plus points, but now his role with the Sharks next season in my opinion is going to be a lot more prominent, especially since you lost forwards like Gustav Nyquist, Joe Pavelski, Jonas Donskoy. I think Kevin Labanc is in prime position to really just continue to get that point total up. So like I said, I will say under right now because I think maybe 65 to 70 points is more realistic, but I would not be surprised whatsoever if he's like a point per game player next season. This next comment is another one from Frankie McDonald. I do apologize to all the people that didn't have their comment featured. I usually try not to choose the same person twice, but I really like this one and I wanted to talk about Phil Kessel in this video, and it's Phil Kessel 80 points. I'm going to go right ahead and say over. He was a point per game player this past season, and in the 2017-18 season he was a 90 plus point guy, and now in Arizona he's most likely going to be that #1 scoring option along with Clayton Keller, and he's going to be relied upon as a veteran leader, and that is a role that I'm super excited to see how Phil Kessel plays in. I'm going to be watching him closely next season, and I'm definitely going to say over for this one. This next comment comes from Dex who says Alex Tuch 75 points. Now this is another player that's coming off of a breakout season, 50 plus points for Alex Tuch, and for the most part throughout the majority of the regular season he was their leading scorer. In my opinion he has all the tools to be an amazing offensive player, and he's still young. He just got that new contract, and I just think he's a really underrated piece for this Vegas team. I will say under on the 75 points. I think 65 and maybe 70 is in the cards for him most likely next season, because I don't even know if he's in the top 6 because they have so many talented forwards. So for that reason I think I'm going to say under, but eventually I think he will be like a 75 65-point scorer in his career. Next up, we have a comment from Hockey Jav who says Victor Arvidsson and 65 points. I'm going to say over right away. I've said on the channel multiple times how good I think Victor Arvidsson is. He's one of the most underrated goal scorers in the whole league in my opinion. Just had an amazing season even though it was riddled with injuries. If he had have stayed healthy, he honestly could have been a 50-goal scorer, and I don't think people really realize how good he is. I think next year he's really going to have a strong season. I could see him being like a 40-goal scorer and having like 35 or 40 assists as well, being like a point per game player. I'm that high on Victor Arvidsson, so I'm 100% going to say this is over. This next comment comes from Bruno Franz, Eric Linder, and they say Jesper Bratt 60 points over or under. I think I'm going to say under, but in my opinion it's going to be slightly under. I think he'll be like a 50 to 55 point guy next season. He's a really good young player for New Jersey, and I think he's going to be kind of an underrated piece for them. You know, everyone looks at Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Taylor Hall, but Jesper Bratt is a very, very good offensive young player. There's been videos of his skating drills this summer, and it's just ridiculous how good of a skater he really is. In my opinion, this past season, he was on pace to have a breakout season had he not gotten hurt, so I think that's kind of going to be the year he has next season, but I will still say under for this one, but slightly. And now the last comment I'm going to talk about, this one comes from Aiden Turnbull, who says Quinn Hughes 30 points. I'm going to go right ahead and say over. I think in his few NHL games played this past season, he showed all the ability in the world of being an amazing power play quarterback. The vision he has, and you pair that along with Elias Pettersson and a goal scorer like Brock Besser, I think there's potential Quinn Hughes does put up a lot of points next season, so I'm 100% going to say over. And now I'm going to hand it on over to Andrew Pillock so he can give you guys 10 comments and give you his thoughts on them.
What's going on? Andrew Pillock Hockey here. Thank you to OhNyquist for having me a part of this video. For the NHL Over or Under video, this is going to be so dope. I've always wanted to do something like this, so thank you so much for having me a part of this video. I love this channel, so if you're new to the OhNyquist channel, make sure to subscribe, show him some love. He puts out great content every single day. And if you want to check out my channel, Andrew Pillock Hockey, love to have you guys over. I talk about NHL trade rumors and just every single team. I try to have a bit of everything in my background, so hopefully you guys will want to check that out. But he's given me, OhNyquist has given me 10 players that you guys have chosen and their point totals, and I'm gonna try to give my opinion on if I think they're gonna have over that point total or under that point total. And some of these are pretty great, and some of them are some guys that I really like, so it's gonna be tough to give my predictions, but I'm ready for it. So the first one is from the Cav and Joe show, which I believe I know them. I'm pretty sure I've seen their channel before. But of course, I have to start with this one. OhNyquist had to give me this one first. Over under William Nylander, 70 plus points, has hit 61 points twice before, except last season, of course. Now, I'm a big fan of William Nylander. I really like him. And a lot of people don't like his contract, but I think it's really good under $7 million. He's 23, 260-point seasons, like Cav and Joe show said. And I really think he's going to take a step this year. Him and Matthews are going to be playing together again. I'm going to say over 70 points, but not a lot over that. I think he could be in the 72 to 75 point range. I think that's really fair for him. Like 260 point seasons, and those were full seasons when he was, you know, just starting to grow up a little bit. He's still growing up in the NHL. He's only 23 years old, same age as me. And I really believe that he's going to take his game to the next level this season. He doesn't have to be an elite goal scorer. He just has to be able to feed Austin Matthews the puck and score when he needs to. When there's an open chance for him, he needs to be able to bury those pucks. And I think that he'll be able to do that this season. So I'm going to say over 70 points, but not by a lot. Now the next one comes from Tristan McCormick. And of course now it's a Habs fan, so more controversy for me, but I'm actually a Leaf fan that doesn't hate the Habs. I know a lot of people will probably be really confused about that, but Jonathan Drouin, or Jonathan Drouin, however you say it, I know some people pronounce it differently, but Drouin, over 70 points or under 70 points? Now I'm going to say under, but not by a ton. So if we're looking at Drouin, his previous career high, he's done it twice, is 53 points, and he actually achieved that last season as well. Now, Drouin is also not a guy that's going to score a ton of goals, but, I mean, if he does find that goal-scoring touch, then yeah, maybe he can hit that goal. But for right now, I believe it's going to be under 70 points, because I think it's fair to say that Drouin can be in the 60 to 65 point range, and I think that's being reasonable. I really like the player, but I'm going to have to say under 70 points. Next is the account called Cute Luna. Anthony Cirelli, 50, over or under. Now, if we're talking Cirelli, another guy that's on the up and up. I really do like this player, but 50 points is quite the jump. Now, I actually think it is possible, so I am going to say over 50 points, but I'm going to say it's just barely, like 51 or 52 points. Of course, in the 17-18 season, 11 points, and then this past season, 39 points. So it's fair to say that an 11-point jump would be fair for him. Maybe scoring in the 20 to 25 goal range would take that to the next level. I think 50 is achievable, and I'm going to say over 50 points. So Paul Elliott has Nazem Kadri, of course, now of the Colorado Avalanche, my former favorite player on the Toronto Maple Leafs. 65 points, over or under. This one is very tough. Nazem Kadri's previous career high is 61 points, and that was in the 16-17 season. If Kadri can get back to scoring over 30 goals, it makes this goal really achievable, 65 points. But I'm going to say under because I think Kadri's going to be a 60-point player this year, and that's fair because last year he had 44 points, of course, in a more limited role. And I really do think that 60 is a really good season for Kadri. And this is not me dissing him because he's gone. I hope he absolutely destroys that and gets much more than 65 points. But for now, I think he's going to be under 65 points. This account is called Random Person, and it says Anthony Mantha with 75 points. Now I got to be careful with this one because OhNyquist is going to be on me if I say something he doesn't like. But 75 points is quite the jump for Anthony Mantha, and that's no disrespect. He is 24 years old and is getting better every year. But at 48 points, you're expecting quite a huge jump. I'm going to say under just because I think that 60 points is also an achievable goal for Mantha, maybe a 65-point player. But with a jump from that little amount of points to all the way to 75, you're expecting a ton out of this player, and I think that you should allow him to make that jump. But again, I hope all of these players, if I'm saying under, destroy that. I like seeing goals scored in the league. I was a goalie, but not in the NHL clearly, but I really love watching players light up the score sheet and have a good time out there. That's what it's all about. But I do believe that Mantha, it's fair to say he could be in the 60 to 65 point range, so I'm going to say under 75 points. Now, here's one that's really interesting. Capo Caco, okay? This is a new player to the NHL, so this is like a fresh prediction. Now, this is coming from Danny. I don't want to mispronounce the last name there, but this is coming from Danny. You can see it up on the screen here. Whew, this one is hard to predict. Capo Caco, because this could be really controversial, but I'm saying over 60 points. People might think I'm absolutely ridiculous, but I think he's going to tear it up. But again, it's going to be just over 60, the 62, 64 point range. If it's more than that, then hey, that's awesome. We got more talent in the NHL, but I'm saying it's going to be over 60 points. Again, there's nothing really to say how his game will be in the NHL, but from what we've seen, the highlights, the progression that he's made so far in his, amateur before his pro debut, basically, he's going to be fantastic. Now, this one's really cool. Elias Pettersson, however, I know there's a bunch of different ways to pronounce it versus in different countries and everything, but I'm going to say Elias Pettersson for this one. I really enjoy watching this guy. He's so talented. And this one is coming from Tal Kuhner. So, Tal Kuhner is saying Pettersson at 75 points, over or under. I'm going to say over. I think that this is fair to say. Last year, 66 points in his rookie season. An elite player already for the Canucks. And I know people don't like using the word elite, but I don't toss it around lightly. I really think that he is going to be an elite talent for this league. He already proved it last year. I think 75 points is very achievable. Barzal in 90 points. Of course, Matthew Barzal from the New York Islanders. And this one is coming from Buckduke 1. Barzal 90 points. So, if we're looking at Barzal, 22 years old, this guy's really young and he's already tearing it up in the NHL. Last season, he had a drop-off in points, 82 games played, he stayed healthy. Let's hope he stays, knock on wood, stays healthy. Even though I'm a Leaf fan, I'm not disrespecting the Islanders. He had 44 points, a drop-off from his previous 63. So I'm going to say under, but this is because I think that he is going to be a better player, but I think he's in the 75 to 80 point range next season, which, I mean, hey, that's great for the Islanders. I think that him having a previous career high of 85 points, not 63. 85 points previously, I really do believe that that's very achievable for him. Sorry if I goofed up on the points there, but 62 points last year, 85 the year before. I really do believe still a similar drop off because of the assist numbers, but I think that he is an 80 to 85 point player, so I'm going to go with Barzal being under 90 points. Now, this is coming from Sied Solat. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Larkin at 85 points. Another guy I got to be careful of because of OhNyquist there. I don't want to tick that guy off with one of his favorite players, if not his favorite player. But Larkin, he's 22, okay? So this guy still has a lot to grow in the NHL. 85 points, that's a big jump for the guy. Not too much. He had 73 points last year, 63 previously. I am going to say over. But I'm going to say it's going to be in the 87 to 88 point range, which, again, really good numbers for him. Larkin would be taking a step up from his 73 points and would take his career to the next level. Maybe he becomes a 90 point player. I think it's very, very possible. Now, the last one is David Pastrnak at 90 points. I'm saying over, no matter what. This one was the easiest one for me to choose. The reason why I'm saying that is because 81 points last year, 80 previously, 70, and this guy's proven that he can make a big jump. 26 points in 51 games, then he went to 70 points in 75 games in the 16-17 season, and has gradually just got better. I honestly, if he scores 45 goals next year, I wouldn't be surprised. This guy could maybe touch 100 points depending on how his shot is next year, because this guy is lethal. He had only 66 games played, he had 81 points. This guy can touch 100 points. I really do believe it. So this is a little bit longer than I think it should have been. Hopefully you enjoyed my part of the video, and don't worry, it's just my opinion if you don't like the over or under that I chose. So thank you again for having me, and make sure to subscribe to OhNyquist.
So that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. I think it turned out good, and thank you so much to Andy for coming on, and make sure to go subscribe to his channel. Like I said, let's try to get him up there around 6.5 or even 7,000 subscribers. His channel link will be down in the description below. And with all that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.